a great pleasure to be with you here today to officially launch the third trade-related technical assistance project between the European Union and the government of the Philippines. This new action further expands our long-standing support to the country's effort to promote economic growth and poverty reduction through trade. There is sufficient evidence, indeed, that outward-looking countries opening up trade and investment opportunities have better than average records in achieving respectable economic growth rates, greater equity, more inclusiveness, and higher poverty reduction. This has been the own experience of the European Union. More relevantly, it is also the experience of several Asian countries, from the original tigers to the newly emerging economies. The rationale for the decision to continue this trade-related assistance as part of our development cooperation is thus obvious. It is even more so considering the success of the previous phases this third program is going to build on. Important results of our past cooperation are numerous, but I will mention three of them and let you have a look at the other ones in the available material. Firstly, by supporting the development of quality standards, capable inspection, and good aquaculture practices, meeting EU and international requirements, the Philippines has access to the EU market of 500 million consumers for its seafood products. In 2012, this represents $175 million in Philippine fishery exports to the EU. Yet, this is only the beginning, as the potential is largely unexploited. For the sake of comparison, while in 2007 the Philippines exported 11,000 worth of seafood for each kilometer of its 36,000 plus kilometers of coastline, Vietnam exports amounted to $890,000 per kilometer, and Thailand 1.9 million per kilometer. So you see there is huge potential for further expanding Philippine export and production first and export of fishery products. Second, TRTA has contributed to make trade producer and system more efficient, leading to increased trade volume of export. It did so notably through the implementation of electronic to mobile, which is a platform that facilitates electronic payment and submission of customs declaration. In the same vein, the EU support promoted the national single window, which connects 37 out of 40 agencies into a single entry point for the submission of application for licenses, permits, and other authorization for export and imports. This, for instance, helped reduce delays in the application for import permits by more than half, on average, to 1.5 to 2 days. Thirdly, our cooperation with the Bureau of Customs helped develop and implement a plan for merit-based recruitment personnel and a competency-based system for human resource management, including reassignment and job rotation. This resulted in an improvement in integrity reviews of the Bureau, such as an increase of 7.8% points in the Pulse Asia survey on corruption from 2009 to 2011, and hence to an increased confidence in the Philippines as a reliable trade partner. Altogether, this assistance contributed to the country's improvement in the 2011 Trading and Cross-Border Index of the World Bank Business Report from 68 ranked to 61. Looking forward, the third phase of TRTA, which brings a total of our contribution in support of trade to 18 billion euro, or around 1 billion pesos, over a period of 12 years, will not only build on past accomplishments, but also embrace a wide trade and investment agenda and new components. There are 6 areas which we were presented this morning, 3 of which I want to mention particularly as they can be considered as of prime importance. Firstly, the project will provide assistance for the development and implementation of a competition law and related policies. No strong and sustainable growth can be attained without proper competition, which reduces the price and increases the quality of goods and services, boosts the export capacity, and ensures a level playing field that attracts foreign investors. Our support will help address the issue highlighted in the Global Competitiveness Report on the extent of market dominance, which ranks the Philippines in 98th position in 144 countries, and effectiveness in anti-monopoly policy, which the Philippines ranks 84 out of 144 countries. The project will notably support the development of cooperation mechanisms between the public sector and regulators for the telecommunication, energy, and maritime transport to ensure this fair competition and penalize restriction to competition. Secondly, the project will promote the adoption and the implementation of the customs modernization law. It will notably carry out a gap analysis of the draft bill versus the standards and recommended practices of the Kyoto Convention. Furthermore, the restructuring of the Bureau of Customs will be analyzed to give its fiscal autonomy in order to shield it from the political patronage system that feeds corruption. Together with additional measures, this will help achieve the two targets of an average reduction of clearing time by 30% and the processing time for import-export permit to 6 hours. Thirdly, the active participation of the Department of Agriculture and the Food and Drug Administration of the Department of Health, the project will encourage the and identify incentive to increase the added value through processing agriculture or fishery products traditionally exported by the Philippines, like banana, fish, and pineapple. This should result in an increase of export and higher value product following the successful example of other countries in the region. The heart of the EU support in this and the other three components is to share global best practices and leading-edge technology. TRTA 3 allows relevant government agencies and private sector access to knowledge through the provision of domestic and global experts who do not only carry highly specialized knowledge but also international experience. But they are able to jointly work with policymakers and mentor technical staff to leave behind an enhanced capacity. The launch of a third phase of EU assistance in the field of trade-related technical assistance is a recognition that economic reforms and improvement of the legal framework is a long-term undertaking. The EU is a long-term partner with the Philippines. We know how much has already been achieved, but we also are aware of the future steps needed to see a Philippine economy which will create jobs and take the country further on a sustainable growth path. Trade is first and foremost about fully developing the country's comparative advantage and opening up to local and global competition. In today's fast-evolving world, there is no place for complacency. New skills and an improved legal environment need to be built on past achievements. TRTA 3 will further contribute to an increased competitiveness of the Philippines economy, which will then deliver the much-needed jobs and reduce poverty. I wish TI and all the participating agencies success in this very important task. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ambassador. The TTI is not without a captain. I think everyone is eagerly awaiting the message from our Secretary. Let's give a warm welcome to Honorable Gregory Domingo.
Ambassador Ledoux, Undersecretary Cristobal, Director General de Lima, Undersecretary Serrano, DDG Esguerra, Mr. Hans Farnhammer, Head of Development Operation of the EU Delegation, other guests, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning. Since most of what I wanted to discuss has been already presented, I will just keep my speech short, shorten my speech to 45 minutes. Today, we mark our deepening partnership with the European Union as we uphold our mutual commitment to develop trade as a vehicle to reduce poverty in the Philippines and provide sustainable opportunities for growth. The TRTA 3 project is geared to increase the capacity of both the government and private sector groups in facilitating trade and investments. The importance of today's event goes beyond the launching of this project. We view this as EU's commitment to engage the Philippines comprehensively and further strengthen our trade and investment ties. The Philippines is grateful to the EU for the support it has given for TRTA 1, 2, and 3. Our trade with the EU amounted to 10.6 billion in 2012, with the Philippines enjoying a trade surplus of $1.3 billion. In terms of investments, EU countries accounted for 40% or $2.75 billion of total approved foreign investments last year. So as you can see, EU is both a significant trading partner of the Philippines as well as a significant investments source. Embarking on the TRTA 3 is a signal that Philippines intends to sustain, if not to surpass, our current level of growth. For those of you who are familiar, we got a 7.8% growth, probably the fastest in Asia during the first quarter, surpassing China by a tiny bit. With the assistance of the EU, we are addressing technical constraints that can further speed up our participation in global trade. We are now implementing far-reaching economic reforms that will spur us to perform effectively against world-class competition in our region and in the rest of the world. Through the TRTA 3 support, we will build more capacity to address constraints to increasing trade, such as, which was presented earlier, the SPS management control systems, the national quality infrastructure, competition policy, trade facilitation, and industry development policy. TRTA 3 should eventually lead to economic activities that results in business growth, job creation, and inclusive growth. Again, our thanks to the EU for undertaking this project. With the Department of Trade and Industry as coordinating agency, we believe that TRTA 3 will pave the way for more economic breakthroughs for the Philippines and strengthen cooperation between our country and the EU. Thank you and good day.